Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're new channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. We'd like to thank today's sponsors, Untuck It. Check the description for more out about them. What's really cool about their shirts, so Untuck It shirts, are they're made to be untucked, so they're designed that way. So for me, I'm a quite short guy, but I like my shirts untucked, so it's quite cool. And also for the more rotunded of us, for that lockdown body, which probably didn't come out the way we wanted it to, they've got lots of different sizes, so check them out. Today's guest, we have someone very special, very special. So special, in fact, that I have moved my recording stuff from my garage into my friend Colin Cooper's, well, you can't call it a garage because it's not a garage. It's a pub. It's a pub he's converted during lockdown. I'll do a little swivel as well because he'll want to show it off. But we're in the Cooper's Inn, all the way from Rainham. I mean, sorry, South Hornchurch. Sorry. I don't want to bugger up Colin's price in his house. From South Hornchurch, because of this one man we're interviewing today. As I said, we've had Matt Lorenzo on a few weeks ago, and you might have watched Ray's program, Blaze TV, about Sicily. Obviously, Ray's currently living in Sicily, so I thought let's bring back some nostalgia. The Ray Winstone talking about West Ham in a pub. That's pretty much got every box ticked for me. So that's why we're here, man. I'll do a swivel because otherwise Colin will hate me. But he's done this all himself, Ray. Look at all this. Look at this. He's got all the optics. Got the old chopper. Remember that?
Oh, it's mint, isn't it?
It's good, isn't it? And he's done all that, and he's barred himself today.
What are the prices like in there?
Do you know what? They're quite reasonable, especially if you're on your own. But he's even got the peanuts. Got some peanuts for later on. He's barred himself today, so we can do it socially distanced, following all the guidelines, so no one moans. But how are you, Mr. Winstone? How are you, mate?
I'm fine, thank you, Russ. I got caught here in March. I got here 3 days later. They had a lockdown, and I can think of worse places to have a lockdown. It's been blinding, so there's plenty of room here, and they've done it really well out here. Actually, they locked all the towns down, so there was a bit of freedom. It's actually worse now. They've started lockdown again as they have in the UK.
Yes.
So I'm planning to come back to England in November. I was going to drive, but if they close the borders in France, which they should have done years ago, and in Spain, it's going to be. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to drive. I might have to fly. So, but I enjoy the drive.
Yeah,
you see
I like
places,
you
meet people. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, I want to be home for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. And Sicily's a lovely place anyway, isn't it? It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's good people here and all.
Yeah,
the staunch people.
Yeah, we've
got our own West Ham club in the town here. I've converted everyone.
I was about to say,
all face masks, West Ham face masks and shirts and everything. The local team have got all the training kit, so we're spreading the word. It's like the gospel.
That's good. That's what we like. Yeah, and I wouldn't put anything past you, Ray, to do that anyway. To be honest, so wherever you go, you'll infiltrate the West Ham lot. But I know we did. I was in
Mauritius once. I was in Mauritius before the World Cup here in South Africa with a load of the boys. And there's you can't believe it, in the middle of the island, there's a West Ham fan club. It's a building with West Ham United on the side in Mauritius. So we're worldwide, aren't we?
Oh, it's mental.
We're international.
Well, with this channel, I've been lucky enough to interview lots of people, and loads of like the American Hammers and all the different groups, and whether it's West Coast, East Coast, Central. We've interviewed the Indian Hammers. We've got a guy from Hong Kong coming up this week. It's meant, honestly, I didn't realise how big our...
There's a big club there's a big clubhouse of West Ham fans in Dublin.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, we had a few of the Dublin Hammers.
Branch.
Scandinavian Hammers. Scandinavian Hammers.
Well, Vikings. We love a Viking, don't we?
And it's brilliant, and that's why I love it. And it's you don't realise how big. Obviously, I live in Hornchurch, so I'm not like I'm 20 minutes away from the ground. But now it's like you see these guys who they might not ever come over to London Stadium, but they're just passionate, and it's so nice. It sort of it reinvigorates you. You know, you've been we've been beaten down for a West Ham fan too often, and listen to these guys and their stories and stuff. Oh, it's brilliant. It's really, 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 really good, man. But and I can totally understand your appeal with Sicily. I remember went to a day trip in Capri on a cruise. Beautiful place.
Yeah, lovely.
I almost lost my wife. Almost lost my wife to a lemon shop seller who propositioned her. Yeah, but he was about 80. They are. He was about 85, and I could see my wife doing the calculations how long till she can get the life insurance. You can see her, you can see it, but she changed her mind and came back to Hornchurch with us. Although she doesn't let us forget it. But anyway, it's brilliant chatting to you, Ray. I really, really appreciate it. You know, when I started the channel, I had a hit list of who I wanted to get on the channel, and number one.
Oh, bless you.
Was the was the £1 fish man? No. You were number one, Ray. You were number one, man. And we've had Perry on. Yeah. You've had.
I know you have. Yeah. He's a good mate at £1.
Lovely guy. Yeah, and we've had Jamie from EastEnders as well, Jamie Borthwick. So yeah, we've done well. And we've got lots of ex-players, and it's lovely. And everyone, it's a nice community. It's nice to look back at West Ham, isn't it? There's always something going on with West Ham, whether it's owners throughout ever, whether it's owners or players or whatever. It's nice to go back and have a chance to think and look back at memories and stuff, and that's why people like it. So
absolutely,
it's all good. So for you, Ray, we obviously know you're a West Ham fan, but why? Yeah. Why is West Ham your club? Why are you a West Ham fan?
I lived in Caister Park Road, which is Plaistow. That's where I come out. I was born in Hackney Hospital, but really I was brought up in Plaistow, so it was a no-brainer, really. You know, it was 1957. I was born. It was, we was coming through as a club, I guess, at the time. My uncle, my great uncle, Uncle Frank, used to play for West Ham, 1923.
Brilliant.
And Frank Richardson, and he was bought, I think, from Reading, and he was the first £1,000 player. I think it was the year after we played Bolton in the cup and got beat in the first Wembley final.
Yeah.
And so it was in the family, even though my dad was an Oxton man, and I guess he wasn't a great football fan, and if he had been, it would probably been Arsenal, being an Oxton boy, But thank God we lived in Plaistow, so I used to go to the games with him there, he used to take me to football there. Otherwise, I might have been a gooner.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine that?
Well, could you imagine? I mean, how many Premier League, the Invincibles, the Premier League titles. Oh, could you imagine? No, but it don't mean nothing.
Painful. Too much success is no good for you.
Do you know it's true? Someone spoke to me the other day, one of the fans, and said, "Look, I'd never want to win the Premier League title because I think it would change us." And I agree. West Ham fans are a unique bunch of people, aren't they? And they are, but it's like, those sort of 3 or 4 times a season we turn up, and for some reason we don't know why, and luckily the last few games we have turned up, but and that's what it is.
You know what, when we scored that, you say that, and it's quite true. It's like a cup final. When we got that equaliser when Lanzini got that wonder goal against Tottenham, I was literally, it was right at the last minute, and I was sitting watching it, the telly in the front room. And I just stood there for 10 minutes after with my arms up in the air, with my mouth open and the chip hanging out like that, and I couldn't move. It was like winning the World Cup,
Yeah, it was.
Which we've already done.
Which you've already done, indeed. I know what you mean. So when that goal came in, my mother-in-law ran in thinking I'd turned my ankle, because it was like, because she never heard that sort of level of excitement coming out of my mouth. But particularly watching West Ham. But no, it's good. And Moisey seems to have got a tune out of the guys recently. So long may that continue, mate.
Watching the Newcastle game, the first game of the season, and I was absolutely gutted with that game, with the performance and everything. And if you looked at the players at half time when they came back onto the pitch there, they looked distraught. They looked like they were finished, And I thought this is going to be one of them seasons again where there's going to be, I don't know, it looks an unsettled team. It looked like the dressing room wasn't together. And then we played Arsenal and we didn't win the game. But I tell you what, we were the better side.
Yeah.
And unlucky not to get 3 points, let alone 1 point out of the game. So, and there was a little bit of hope there. The defence looked like it was playing together. And I thought maybe that's just a one-off. And then the next game, I think it was Wolves, wasn't it, the next game?
Yeah,
I believe it was. And we turned up. And then Leicester.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking, well, Moyes has actually sorted that team out. And there's a lot of noise coming from the dressing room now saying that the players are very, very happy with the way things are going with Moyes. They want him to stay. And we look like a team. I'm not saying we're the best team in the league or anything like that. But at the same time, it looks like we've got boys who are willing to play and run and know where they're playing. That's the thing. Instead of just, you've got an individual like we had in Anderson who really was... I was gutted about him because he looked like he had some class about him.
Yeah.
But he just didn't look like he had any of that, Where we got boys now that are playing like this little Bowen and Antonio, Mikel Antonio, he's got to get an England call up, hasn't he?
He's got to, hasn't he?
I mean, have you ever seen the boy who puts in, I think the last person we had who put in a session like him every game was Scotty Parker. Someone who really was 120% every game. And he's an handful. Kid's an handful. And he's now out for a month. And it looks like we're going to have to change the way we play again. But you know what? If there's that sort of vibe going on in the dressing room, then so be it. Bring it on. And there's a great test this weekend with Liverpool. So we'll see what happens.
No, you're totally right, man.
Love to go and do them, wouldn't you? Love to turn them over.
Especially like Van Dijk's not playing and Fabinho's out, and it's frustrating because if Antonio was there, you'd think, God, he would be absolutely chomping at the bits going against us.
Well, do you know what? Because I've got to tell you, with me with Van Dijk, don't get me wrong, he's a terrific player, Van Dijk.
Yeah.
But no one puts any pressure on him.
No.
He's a little bit of a poser. It's like, I look like I'm a good footballer and I move the ball really well and he can pass the ball and he is a good player, but I never see anyone going crunch, livening me up, giving it him. And I think Antonio would have smashed into him a little bit, like Carroll would have done, Andy Carroll was, I'm gutted for Andy Carroll because I believe he was an handful and I think without the injuries, I think he went in so hard, Andy, and he's a big man.
Yeah.
He got hurt too much, and I think if he'd have stayed fit, I think he'd have been a fabulous centre forward,
Yeah, no, totally. And you're totally right. I mean, I just think, I can't think of any defender apart from Van Dijk, is the only one I can think of in the Premier League who'll be able to keep up with Anderson, keep up with Antonio, just because he bullies him. I can't think, and he's just like, because he don't know what he's going to do. So how's the defender going to know what he's going to do? I love players like that, and it's.
You don't want to meet him down a dark alley, do you?
No, you don't want to meet him with his Lamborghini because he crashed it last Christmas. Do you remember, in a snowman costume? But no, and he seems a good lad as well, isn't it? And he's grafted from all the way up. And I love players like Vardy and people like that who grafted. It hasn't been given to him, been put just into academy and first taken straight into the league. But and Moyes just seems to have this team of fighters now. People he's brought in, the fighters, the backroom staff seem to be all fighters, and we're scared. I think we scare teams now. We score from corners. When do we ever score from corners for the last 3 or 4 years? And we're a bit nasty.
Every time we got a call, those was cringe when we got a call.
We'd never hit the first man, would we? We'd never hit the first man. But it is
because they were going to do us on the breakaway. So you get a call and they're going to score.
It's so true. It's so true. And you said, I mean, like someone like someone like Souček or whatever, and Antonio, we're just being a bit more we're just nastier now. Do you know what I mean? We just got a bit about us. We're not a pushover anymore now, which is what people
we're
see.
also playing really good football.
Yeah, we're scoring.
We're playing all right. And I like the way we're knocking the ball about. And many teams in the Premiership. How it's going to go. It's going to go up one wing. It's going to come back down that wing, go across to the other side, go back up. Liverpool at least knocked the long ball across field.
Yeah.
And we've started hanging back, holding back, getting the defence right, and hitting them on the break. And that's the way we're kind of playing at the moment. Because what I've realised, and I'm sure most of the fans have realised, is you don't have to have most of the possession to win a game of football anymore.
No.
All this thing is you must have possession, bollocks. You hold back and you hit them, let them come on and then counter punch.
Yeah.
Oh, stud, And I love it. I love all that.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? Because you just know you can just soak up the pressure. You know you've got that outlet, and it's like you keep playing it around the back. Yeah. All we need is like 5 minutes of that. And Antonio, you know, 1-on-1 with your defender, and you haven't got a chance, mate. And yeah it's working.
But we're going to have to play a little bit different now, I guess, because you've got
apparently
now you have Ella up front, who's not that kind of runner.
No,
who's more of a footballer. And maybe you might push little Bowen in a little bit more. I don't know, and maybe Yamalenko will go out on the wing. You know.
Yeah,
which I'm not averse to because I quite like Yamalenko. I think he's quite a class act actually. He's livened himself up.
Yeah, he is. You know? And he didn't play well the other day, but he was his wife was expecting a baby and had a baby about 3 hours later. So everyone can more important for But also we got the. What's up?
Well, his wife might be having a baby, but you are playing West Ham after all, kid. Get your finger out.
What are we paying you for? Exactly. But I mean, you got the boy Barami as well. Saeed Barami. He might come on and he looks.
Yeah.
He looks like a West Ham player. Do you know what I mean? Like maverick sort of player. Yeah, he looks lively. We love a lively player like that. Skillful. We've got a lot of quick players like Antonio.
He's got pace as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. So we'll see.
I haven't seen much of the kid, but
no.
But maybe it's the time for him to come on now. If you lost that kind of pace with Antonio, maybe it's time for him to come on and see what he can do.
Yeah, and it's a different type of game, as you said. If we're playing, as you said, because we're playing, might be playing Haller up front, or Antonio might not be injured. We don't know. There might be, there's a report that he might not be injured. We don't know. That's the thing. So we'll see. We'll see. But whatever, the boys will put the effort in, and that's what we care about. Might be a ploy, a clever tactic by David Moyes. But I would, wouldn't you? It's like if he's the main focal. So he's out for 6 weeks. Liverpool then play all their all their defensive stuff, everything with having Haller up front, and then Antonio comes up, he buggers them all up. Why not? Yeah. Why not? Clever, man. But we'll see. We'll see. And as long as they carry on, as long as they put the effort in, that's all we care about, man, isn't it? As long as they put their, play for the shirt.
You can't ask for no more than that.
No,
because anyone in the Premiership seems like they can win a game now.
True.
There's no easy games, is it?
No, you're right. It's not, and every team's turning over every other team, and it seems like defences are now null and void. It seems that we can outscore you, which is great, which is entertaining, I suppose. But it's frustrating when you know. But we'll see. And that's the thing, we just don't know West Ham, do we, Ray? You've been there since the late 80s, late 50s, rather. Anything can happen. Right? Anything can happen with West Ham.
Absolutely, nothing changes.
No, nothing changes. Doesn't matter where we play. Doesn't matter what badge you've got on. Doesn't matter who's putting on the shirt. There's something inherent about West Ham where everyone's got to. And I think that's why people like it. A lot of people have West Ham as their second team because we're like that. We're different fans. We're hardened. I liken it to when when you learn to play the guitar, you have to play really hard to get your fingers all calloused and get extra skin on your fingers so you don't know. That's like us. We've got this hard skin, hard exterior. Yeah, we know we'll lose to Burnley, but we know Man United will come next. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just ready for the world. If you was a Man United Liverpool fan and grown up knowing success all the time, in the real world, when you get kicked in the nuts,
exactly,
you don't know how to come back. But as a West Ham fan, you've had the pain all your life. So you can deal with the world.
Exactly.
It's a great way of looking at it, isn't it?
It's character building, isn't it? It's character building. That's what I tell my
come and be a West Ham fan. Come to the dark side.
Yeah, come to the dark side. Join us. But so as I said, Ray, what we do on this channel is we find out why West Ham fan. We talk about West Ham, but also we do your Hammers 11. So the idea is everyone we've had on the channel, bar I think Mr. Redknapp didn't do an 11. And Mr. Bishop didn't do an 11.
Did he not?
Bish didn't because he's such a nice bloke. He didn't want to piss anyone off. He didn't pick in his team. Exactly. We love Bish.
Well, I'm horrible.
I'm horrible. I'm going to pick everyone. So as I said, we're picking 11. The only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. To be honest, Ray, no disrespect, you're an experienced fan, so you have quite a nice.
Getting on a bit,
Experienced. We call them experienced fans. It's all right. That's the political way. So you've got quite a nice spread. So be interested to see what your thoughts are of your players. So we'll start off in goal. So who's in goal for the Winstone 11? The 11 everyone wants to be in.
I thought about this long and hard, but it wasn't too difficult for me. It's Parksy, Phil Parks. Mervyn Day was terrific for a time, and there was Ferguson years ago when I was a kid. but I'd have to go with Phil Parkes. You know, I actually played against him once. He was like one of them spiders, big spiders in the web. Wherever you put the ball, I'm not saying I was the greatest forward in the world, but his arms just went up, and you just couldn't beat him. You know, it was unbelievable. And I thought he was a fabulous keeper for us, season in and season out. So Parksy, yeah.
And he's just turned 70 over the
Is
lockdown.
He really as old as that, Phil?
Turned 70 over lockdown. He grew his hair back, especially for his celebrations.
But none on his head, but all down his back.
Yeah, all down there. The Cossack hair was back. So that for his time, but top bloke. Right, we'll put Parksy in. What we playing for at the back, Ray? What we doing?
Well, this is tough for me because, you know, from Billy Bonds, Ray Stewart, Alvin Martin, I'd have to have Alvin in the middle. Yeah, I think. Yeah, and then I've got Julian Dixon, Ray Stewart, and the God Billy Bonds. But so I'd have to go Bondsy. Yeah. In there, and that's no disrespect to Julian or, but I could put Ray on the other side, I suppose. Yeah. But I'd have to have Bobby Moore in there without any shadow of that. And then somewhere you'd have to fit in Martin Peters slipping through because he was the ghost, you know, and how can you leave him out? Yeah. So I think at the back two would be probably Bonds, and then I'd have the other side, Tuffy, Ray Stewart. I'd have probably on the right, I'd probably put Martin Peters, Alvin Martin in the middle. Yeah. And I'll put on the left Alan Devonshire. God. Because Devo, I know I've left old Frank Lampard out there, but because they were a great partnership, Frank and Alan Devonshire, you know. But I can't leave Bondsy out. I've got to leave Bondsy in there. So I put Alan Devonshire. Nice. Just a little bit further back, but coming through with him runs. Oh. And then I've got to make way up front, you know, and, you know, you're talking about centre forwards. You know, we had Jeff Hurst, McAvenny and Cotty, you know, Pop Robson, the old Robson. Yeah. You know, and one who never fulfilled his potential because of injuries, the kid Dean Ashton. Definitely. Who I thought would have probably been one of the great centre forwards, you know, like a Shearer in the end, because his touch on the ball was fantastic, and his running off the ball was great as well. But so he didn't play enough games, so I've got to leave him out. And I've got to put Jeffrey up front. Yeah, I've got to, you know. Yeah. And then the other man is the man behind me, I guess, is Di Canio. Oh, you got to put the man in, you know? Yeah. Especially when you know you're in Sicily as well. So. I'm leaving out Frank, and I'm leaving out Cotty, you know, from the great '80s sides. You know, David Cross. Oh, the original Psycho. Yeah. So, and I'm also leaving out in the middle Scott Parker, who, you know, is not known so much for his skill, but I mean, what an engine! What a player! You know. So yeah, I've got as my front two. I've got Di Canio and I've got Jeff Hurst. You know. That's not bad too. On the wings. God, it's because you go back to John Sissons. Yeah, you know? John Sissons. I mean, leaving out in the middle of Alan Seeley. Remember, I mean, in the 60s, Alan Seeley, when we won the Company's Cup, scored 2 goals. He did, yeah, he did. Deere, yeah, Brian Deere. You know, Alan Taylor. You know, we've had some really terrific centre forwards over the years, you know. But I've got to stick with Di Canio because of his flair, and he could do things magic out of nowhere. Paul Goddard's another one, you know. Class player, you know. But I'm trying to think of the wingers. And I guess over the years we haven't really been renowned for wingers. We tend to have, I mean, we do, I mean, even the modern era, not so much now, isn't it? Because I think wingers are just like something which no one plays now, do they? They play these inverse, you know, so left plays on the right. You know, John Sissons, I can't say Sissons all of a sudden. Maybe I'm half pissed last night, I don't know. But it's just trying to find the wingers that we had, and I can't think of anything. Well, when maybe I've got to
Well, I play
Go on,
4-4.
give me some clues.
Well, I play. Well, I did a 4-4-2 because I'm doing this channel. I've learned things like inside half.
Maybe what I would do then, I'd leave one to go wide, like DeKenny and go wide, and Jeff would go, because Jeff was a great runner off the ball, dragging people.
Yeah.
And maybe then that's where you bring in your Brook in.
Yeah.
You know, as a forward midfielder.
Yeah.
So you got him and Devonshire in the same side, and then maybe I'd put little Frank behind them.
Yeah.
Little Frankie Lampard.
Yeah.
You know, just coming in, you've got that diamond shape thing, and maybe leave the wingers out. Because you'd be going from the middle. If you've got Brook in and Devonshire running it, I don't think you fucking need
if we had Devonshire before the injury, he could drift out and still wing, couldn't he? And just give that pace down the wing.
I mean, so that's my 11.
I love it, man. I can tell you've toiled.
I think we'd probably win the European Cup with that side, you know.
Well, I think also on the bowling green at London Stadium,
if they stayed away from the pub, if they stayed at the pub.
Well, that's it. I've been talking, because obviously we talked to lots of ex-players, and even Trevor Sinclair. You know, so when we had Trevor, Trevor, massive fan of the channel, and we had him on, and he said that season when we finished 5th, we should have won that year. We could have won the title that year, but Harry let them go out on a piss every Tuesday night down the town gate, and wouldn't have the training on the Wednesday, so they could have a night out. But actually,
you reckon Harry sent a few quid along with them as well?
Possibly. Well, that's what Razor said as well. He said exactly the same thing. He said, you know, we had that where we did we'd go out, we'd go to the what was the pub around the Chadwell Heath? Was it Tollgate? We'd go to the Tollgate, then we'd go up London, and Harry wouldn't mind. But then we wouldn't do a sneaky drink on the Wednesday or Thursday. We knew we'd go out on a Tuesday night. Different time, man. Different times, isn't it?
It were different times. You're quite right. I mean, I'm just sort of another player I've left out, and a lot of West Ham. I mean, a lot of West Ham fans have got the ump with young Frank Lampard, you know, and God, you know, get over it. You know, he's been a tremendous player, and Paul Ince, another one. They all got the ump. You know, and for me, Ince, that's it. Ince was a tremendous player, you know. I remember one night, I think we done Liverpool at a night game. I think we done something like 4-1 or 3-1, and I think Ince got a couple, 2 or 3. He got what a player, you know.
So
what a player.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame how, you know. And then that sort of, because of what happened, you know, and obviously he regrets things. I mean, modern day, but you know what I mean, sort of being like Defoe and stuff, who have gone out and said, I made a mistake there. Maybe I shouldn't have done. Yeah, they're just badly advised, isn't it? And because of that, their career's been tarnished. It's a bit like Frank Senior. His career's been, you know, he's not revered in the same way that Bobby is and Billy is, and he should be, because he's played just as many games as them, you know what I mean? But because of Frank's Junior, and because of, you know, when he was coach and everything, they said, you know, he's been tainted, and that's something I really want to see if we can rebalance a bit, you know. I mean, same as Bonzo. I mean, Bonzo only really got recognised last year, really, again, when they named the stand after him. Do you know what I mean? It's good to look. You know, he's
an absolute gentleman as well. I was lucky enough to meet Billy over at Upton Park. And then I've seen him at the new stadium. But for me, he's an absolute gentleman. He's in the same mould as the Bobby Moores and that, you know. You know, remember that team? They were like pirates. When he played, they all had beards and long hair. And it was Graham Paddard and all that.
I saw the pictures.
Charge forward at the same time, you know. It was ridiculous. But it was a great... Alan Taylor up front with his Rochdale haircut, you know, it was like rat tails, like an old skinhead bird, wasn't it? I don't know, there was just something very exciting about watching them then, you know, because they were like marauding pirates all charging at the goal, you know? Yeah.
And particularly like with that, when we played, was it Fulham in the FA Cup, and it was, you know, they were the stylish ones, and we were like, you know, the pirates, so to speak. It was quite funny because watching a lot of that clipping, and obviously, you know, when the FA Cup mattered, you know what I mean? When they actually, the whole day was dedicated to the FA Cup, and you know, obviously BBC would follow one team and ITV would follow the other team, and watched a lot of that coverage recently because it's funny. But you're right, and that was an amazing, you know, I was obviously wasn't around for that, unfortunately. You know, I didn't get on board till early 90s. So actually Bonzo was the manager at the time. So yeah, I'm a relatively young pup in comparison. But
it's a funny story about that day. I was there, 1975, was it? 75, I think it was.
Yep.
And I was standing behind the goal, and I was standing next to two Geordie boys, two Newcastle boys, who were West Ham fans. And they had a bag of Newcastle brown ale in it. They were West Ham fans, but they'd come from Newcastle.
Yeah. And
we were drinking beers with them and watching the game and all that. But it was the one game, and I could honestly say this, and I don't know whether anyone else felt the same, but I didn't mind losing that game. If we'd have lost that game, it wouldn't have worried me.
Yeah.
Because of Bobby Moore.
Yeah.
You know, and Bobby was, as a kid growing up through the 60s, Bobby was a god.
Yeah.
You know, and still is in my eyes. He was a great ambassador for not only the sport, but for our area and where we come from. You know, that someone can mix with kings and people and talk on a level where and have respect, because all you respect is from where we came from. I guess all we talked about was boxing, birds, football, and gangsters. You know, and then all of a sudden this guy came along, Bobby Moore, who you could look up to, and you know he was literally a god to us, you know. Yeah. And so if we'd have lost that final, we never. So it's easy to say, you know, hindsight, but I wouldn't have minded losing it, you know. But we didn't.
If it meant that he would be lifting the cup as well, innit? So. And you're right.
Oh,
I mean,
you know,
such a gent, and obviously, you know, I said we had Matt on the other week, and he was talking about Bobby because obviously he did that documentary, which is an incredible documentary, which is obviously being replayed and stuff at the moment. And and obviously stories we've had. Obviously, we had people like Pikey had come on, and he spoke about Bobby, and you know, just how he would like what he would do is when the team were coming into the game, he'd obviously be one of the first ones to park up, and he'd basically shake every of his teammates' hands as they walked into the stadium to say have a good game, you know, and things like that. It's just class man. And
I met him in the Hilton Hotel at Wembley after he'd retired, and he was very ill at the time.
Yeah,
and he was doing a radio broadcast.
Yeah,
on the game, not a TV broadcast, a radio broadcast.
Yeah,
and he was ill. You'd see he'd been very, very ill, you know, and he really didn't know me from Adam, you know, and I think he was walking along with someone else. It might have been Jimmy Greaves, because I know I met Jimmy Greaves at the same night. And I spoke to Bobby for about half an hour, 40 minutes, and he didn't know I was in films or anything like that. I was just a kid from the same area as him, you know,
sure. And
we just had a conversation, and I think that's the kind of gentleman he was, you know, fantastic man, you know.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've been very fortunate the last 5 months to interview lots of ex-players, and they all just and same as that, you know, they just all give you the time and make you seem like you're their mate. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've never met this guy, but you know, I mean, for me, it's a bit different. But for me, my Bobby Moore was Pete Butler. It was really because he was the first player I ever met. Because they used to do little birthday parties at West Ham for the kids, and I met him as and we interviewed him, and he's currently the Liberian national team manager. So you know where you're up a mountain, he's in Liberia. He's in George Weir's compound at the moment, and and he was.
I was told up.
Yeah, he did say I had to make sure the computers all charged up in case the power goes. And I thought he was in Yorkshire, but no, he's in Liberia, bless him. But no, it's they're all great.
Yeah,
he's a good man. And they all talk.
I played at Wembley once against Bobby Moore before the Tottenham Coventry Cup final, and I kicked off, and I thought I'm going to have a run at goal at Wembley, and Bobby Moore's in front of me. I dropped my shoulder, went round him, and I ran about 20 yards before I realised I didn't have the ball. He nicked the ball off me as I went past him. And then halfway through the second half, he went to me. Mick Shannon had the ball, and he went, have a run, son. I went, what? He went, have a run. And he stepped forward, and I had a run, and Shannon put the ball over. I got the ball, crossed it, and Daley Thompson scored, right? But my point of it is I played against other ex-pros, and they take it very serious, a game of football. You know, it's their business.
Yeah, totally.
But Bobby knew I was just a kid who loved playing football. It was my time of playing at Wembley.
Yeah.
And he let me have your moment. Let me go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was quite incredible, and that was lovely, you know?
Yeah, that's classy. And yeah, I mean, he's just he was a fantastic man by all accounts, and everyone speaks so highly of him. It's you've had people who've worked with him who, when he was at Capital Gold, we've had them on the channel, and you know how he'd go around making everyone a cup of tea. You know, the England guys left the World Cup, who's shaking hands with the Queen, is making me a brew. You know, it's it's brilliant. And they're all, you know, anyone who wears a West Ham shirt, you know, obviously there's ones which stand out, but you know, even the ones we don't like anymore now, you know, they're still part of our history and part of our fabric, and
absolutely,
and that's what's quite good about his channel, because we get a chance for people to shine. So you know, obviously yourself, you've seen all the greats, you know, you've ticked all the greats in terms of who you've picked, but for like people like me, like people like Ian Bishop and Trevor Sinclair and John Moncur, and you know, even people with who are less experienced than us. It's, you know, I don't know, it's Paul Kincheski and it's John Pansill, and you know, everyone has their own, and that's what's lovely, because everyone has a chance to talk about them. So, brilliant, Ray. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, man. I've loved every minute.
You too, son.
I've loved it. Thank you so much. I told you.
I'm going to go dig a hole now. I've got to dig some holes then.
Dig some holes.
I've got to dig some holes. I'm plotting, yeah. So I've got to get my old gear on, slap me on my boots, and then have a dig.
Oh, how the
I
other?
hurt me back last year, so it's really good. I'm trying to strengthen my back up a bit, get myself all ready to go back to work if I'm lucky enough to get another job. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny enough.
I suppose you'll be right on it now. Are you going to start having
a
drink?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a pint now. No, yeah. It's a bit early for me, but yeah, it's lunchtime pint. No, it's funny. Yes, it must have been a sign, Ray, that this was going to happen, because yesterday I switched on my phone and for some reason Love, Honor and Babe turned on, and I haven't seen that film for years, and it came on, and I was like, do you know what? That's a sign. That's a sign. I love one of my favourite films, but. Anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Winstone. Everyone will really, really appreciate that.
Russ, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's always lovely to talk about West Ham, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's the one Zoom.
Exactly. So it's the one Zoom call everyone wants to take who's a West Ham fan, because they get to talk about West Ham rather than the business meeting. We talk about football for about 2 minutes, then you have to start talking. This is all about West Ham. So obviously, thank you, and thank you to everyone who's been watching as well.
You Irons.
Go on, you Irons.
Good luck against Liverpool. Just smash them. Give it them.
Smash them. Although we'll probably put this up. Oh no, I'll put this up on Saturday. But so we haven't lost or won to them, so it was all right.
Well, we ain't got no point in the face. I don't want none of that.
No, I'm going to put up before, Ray, just to make sure. All right, so we're all right, man. But thank you so much for watching. Son. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. From me and Ray, come on, you Irons. See you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone.